Hello all you lovely people and welcome to another video of mine. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered on the PlayStation 5. Now obviously this game has been around for quite some time on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro, but today we're going to be taking a look at the PlayStation 5 version and we are also going to be comparing it to the PlayStation 4 version. Now what is different? First of all, if you dive into the menu options, especially the display options, you will see that there are a few more options here than what you get on the PlayStation 4 version. Now, by default, there are two modes. One is a performance mode, which runs at a 60 FPS, and then there is a fidelity mode, which runs at a 30 FPS, but that's on 4K. Now, if you do have a television or a monitor which has 120 FPS, then you can click on this unlock frame rate mode. Now, there is a third mode as well, and that is a tricky mode because what you would probably have to do is you will have to go into the settings of your PlayStation 5, then toggle the 120 hertz option to automatic, and you'll have to turn off your VRR in the PS5 settings. Then you'll have to come back here and you will have to click on that unlocked toggle in the game settings. Now what this will do is it will attempt to run the game at 4K 40 FPS rather than the usual 30 FPS, which is technically a third mode, which is kind of a tricky mode because it's behind the scenes, or you have to do an extra bit to really take advantage of that 40 FPS. And this again will only work on monitors or televisions which have 120 hertz refresh rate. It will not work on TVs or monitors which have only 60 hertz as your refresh rate. So you have to keep that in mind. So with that said, let's get into the game, and I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison with the PlayStation 4 as well. And I'm going to give you some commentary on top of what my experience has been with this particular game when it's compared to the PlayStation 4 version, which was not the remastered version. So what are the differences? Let's talk about it in the video today. Let's get into it, guys. Let's start with what the PlayStation Store says about the remastered version. Now it boasts sharper shadows and textures, but are they truly game changing? What I can say is don't expect drastic visual overhauls based on the store's description of these shadow and texture upgrades. I would encourage or kind of suggest that you check them out yourself because the changes are really subtle and you really have to keep an eye out for those changes. But let me quickly go over it through the course of this video. While the remastered edition offers exciting new content as well, but I'm not going to be talking about the no return mode in this particular video because this video focuses solely on the visual and the performance improvements. So what you can prepare for in this video is just a very brief side-by-side analysis. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to compare the visuals, compare the performance in this side-by-side way, and I'm only going to talk about my personal opinion. Of course, I'm not a very technical person, so please don't expect a technical analysis of this game. But I'm going to try and do my best when it comes to sharing my personal opinion. If you're like me, then you may really struggle to find any texture quality differences between the PlayStation 4 version and the PlayStation 5 version because I think the codes are very similar. In fact, it's the same code because nothing has changed. The objects are the same. It's not like they've put in all new foliage or there are new objects in the background or there are some new signs or extra lights that have been added. Nothing. It's the same code. So, based on that, just like me, you may really struggle to find those texture quality differences, and irrespective of whether they are these cutscenes or whether it's your gameplay. I mean, I could not find any differences when it comes to the textures. The shadows, however, it's a different thing. Now, I personally did notice some changes in the shadows, but that may be because of the lighting. Now, when I play games, I lay a lot of emphasis on the lighting of a game because personally to me, I think it's a very important aspect because when you're doing videography and all that stuff, lighting plays a very important role. So I definitely look at the lighting in any game, and this game is no different. So when I saw the lighting of this game, now there are changes there, and that is what makes the shadows a little different. So I can understand when PlayStation says that there have been uh, upgrades to the shadows or the textures. Textures not so much, but yes, personally I can say that I did think that the shadows were different. If you saw that scene back there was also pretty different. There was a significant difference in Ellie back in that scene. So there are these small little subtle little changes here and there that you will notice as you go along. But hey, at the end of the day, because it's the same code, when it comes to the overall experience of the game, that is the same. So if you're playing this in the story mode, I don't think you will have a completely different, a mind-bending experience when you're playing this game again in this remastered version. And that is a question that everybody will be asking themselves, whether you should be spending this extra $10 for the upgrade. Is it worth it? Um, I personally think yes, because I believe that this is the best version of this game. So if you have not played this game, if you had purchased this and you kept it in your library and you wanted to pick it up later, I think it's worth paying that extra $10 and getting the upgrade, because there is no doubt in my mind that this is the best version. Because, like I said just a few moments ago, is that everything looks sharper, because I think the baseline from where they are upscaling is also comparatively higher, because in the PlayStation 4 version they might have been upscaling from a lower resolution, like maybe 1100 to 1200p, but here they are upscaling from 1440p over to 4K. So if you have a 4K TV or a monitor, then you will really see that difference. It kind of shines. Now, this is what I meant by the foliage. If you take a look at the foliage, I mean, both look the same if you take a look at it, except for maybe the very distant objects. So there is a difference when it comes to the foliage in distant objects. The level of detail is comparatively better here in the PlayStation 5 version. I think this scene is a good example of that. But if you look up close, like near the character, then there is not much of a difference. In fact, it looks very, very similar. And only if you go in like 250 to 300% will you be able to see those textural upgrades that they have been talking about. But hey, when you're playing this game, obviously you're not playing this game in a zoom mode, right? I mean, you are going to be playing this at 100%. You're not going to be playing this at a 300% zoom. So that's why I was saying that it hardly makes a difference when it comes to the textures unless you really zoom in. But shadows, the lighting, yes. And even in this scene, I don't know whether you have noticed this or not, but the lighting seems a little softer. It looks a little more cinematic, and therefore even the shadows, they look a little more cinematic. The lighting when it falls on the skin also, there's this you could say a strange hue, which is very natural in the PlayStation 5 version, but not in the PlayStation 4 version. And I'll give you a very good example of that. I'll slow down the scene, and you'll be able to notice that as well in the very next scene, right next to this one. And I will highlight that point. Do take note of that when we finally come to that scene in like 3, 2, and oopsie, and 1 and 0. So let's just slow down the screen here. Take a look at the light around the characters. Take a look at the shadows and take a look at the fog as well. The volumetric fog, I think, is comparatively better. This scene is a very good example of the distant foliage, of the fog, the lighting. So this is what I'm talking about, and it is very noticeable if you have an eye out for it. But if you don't have an eye out for the lighting or the shadows, then hey, it's a it's gonna be something that you're gonna be missing out very easily. And again, the textures, well, not much of a difference. The lighting, yes, a whopping difference according to me, but that's because I have an eye out for it. If you don't have an eye out for it, then the PlayStation 4 version is fine and you don't need to upgrade because it's $10. You're better off spending that $10 on a game which is on sale. So again, the experience is not going to be different. If you have the PlayStation 4 version, the story experience is the same. The cutscenes more or less the same. But it's only when it comes to those distant objects is where the difference is what I would say. Now, I apologize, my dog is a little bit hungry, so he's barking in the background. So if that gets captured, well, hey, it's because we're feeding the dog right now. A little pup, Caesar. He's a cute little boy. All right, so let's get a little more into this, and finally, I would bring it all together. So yeah, I think Neil Druckmann has done a fantastic job with this game, and it's a testament of what video games can do and how they can actually be a better cinematic experience than movies as well. It's a very good example of that. Here again, take a good look at the shadows, especially. It looks much better because of the lighting. Take a look at Ellie's t shirt, for instance, here. Even when the shadows fall on the notebook, take a look at that. Take a look at the lights in the background. Everything looks sharper and better, and the light itself looks a little more cinematic, in my personal opinion. Even that lamp in the background, that makes a difference. When you zoom in as well, you will understand what I'm talking about. So it definitely looks more cinematic. Wow, I mean,
Jesus.
take a look at
Almost gave me a heart attack.
the characters here and how light is bouncing off of them. That's what's important, especially their
Hey,
edges, the characters' edges. They look pretty different to me. But again, it's because
Joel.
I'm keeping an eye out for that. I'm keeping an eye out for these visual changes, and that's why I'm able to pinpoint that. But apart from that, I mean, if you were not listening to this commentary, perhaps you would not be able to make it out. Uh, is what I could say. So overall, the game is very close, and in my personal opinion, I think it is worth that extra $10. But again, if you don't want to spend that money, if you have the PlayStation 4 version of this game, because even the PlayStation 4 version of this game has two modes, Fidelity and Performance mode. Isn't that fantastic? I mean, the PlayStation 4 Pro mode, and I
It's
had a PlayStation 4 Pro as well,
pretty late night.
and I was really happy with it. But
Get up in a
finally, I
few
gave it up.
hours.
I sold my PlayStation 4 Pro, but what a device! I mean, it was there for a long time, but here, obviously, the PlayStation 5 version is comparatively better, especially thanks to the lighting in the game and the shadows. Textures, not so much, hit and miss, but there are some scenes where the characters might look very different. Like that scene with Ellie in the background when Joel was talking about it. So,
Funny.
yeah, I mean, this is what I can say in a nutshell about The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Again, this is not a technical analysis. I'm not going to talk about any of the screen space reflections or um, any filtering or any technical terms when it comes to textures. I'm just sharing my personal opinion, just like a very average Joe. I mean, a gamer, just like you. And when I play games, yeah, I the only thing that I look at is how good the game is looking, thanks to the lighting. But apart from that, I don't put on any kind of a stat bar in any of my comparisons as well, because I think that hinders my experience overall. So when my experience gets hindered, I think yours would as well. But again, that's just my personal opinion. Now I can get those tools, like even for the PC. When I game on PC, I can get an afterburner, but I still don't use an afterburner. In fact, I don't even use Xbox's you could say stats running in the background, or my armory crate
Sorry,
running in the
I
background to
totally
show me
overslept. Just
what
give me a minute
the
and I'll be
GPU
there.
usage or the CPU usage of a game is. Now when I play a game, I just
I
experience it just the way it is visually, and that's what I want you to
Excuse
do.
me.
I mean,
I'm
overall,
Christina
again,
Pasadena.
this is the best version of the
Looking
game. So
man.
if you want to play this game, then the remastered version is definitely worth that extra money, that extra $10, in my personal opinion. But you should be good with the
I
PlayStation
thought
4
this was
version
our
as well.
first
Now,
date.
I think I might have sounded off like a broken record in this because I've told that like numerous times.
She's probably just
It's
trying to
because
get
I
me
really
jealous.
want
I didn't.
to drill it
We've
in.
never.
Uh, it's totally a like your choice. But I had a good time with The Last of Us 2 Remastered on my PlayStation
You're the
5.
worst.
And do let me know what your thoughts are about this game in the comment section. That's what I want to do. I want to build a community where we can talk as gamers and share our experiences, our personal experiences, and what you have thought about this game. I do make videos on gameplay. I share some review videos as well. I do some unboxing every now and then. So I'm gonna place all those videos in my on my channel. And if you've liked this content, then I will appreciate it if you could hit that like and subscribe button, and also that bell icon, in case you want to get notified with all my latest videos. But that's it for this one, folks. And I'll see you lovely folks in my next video. Until that time, I'll say take care, stay safe, and May God bless you all.